All right, so you're all welcome to the last module of the Introduction to Cybersecurity course that we're taking. Today, we'll be looking at Module 4. Module 4 is protecting the organization. Protecting the organization. So, within this module, we'll be looking at cybersecurity devices, behavior approach to cybersecurity, and Cisco approach as well. So let's look at cybersecurity devices and technology. Security appliances can be standalone devices like a router, a software tools that can run on a network device. They fall into six general categories. Routers. While a router's primary use is to interconnect various network segments, they usually provide basic traffic filtering capabilities. This information can help you determine which computer from a given network segment can communicate with which network segment. Firewall. Firewall can look deeper into the network traffic to block malicious behavior. Firewalls can have sophisticated security policies applied to the traffic passing through them. And then intrusion prevention system. IPS systems use a set of traffic signatures that match and block malicious traffic. Now, when we are talking about protecting your organization and focusing on the security appliance, we're trying to say that what are the devices that you can use in your organization that can protect your organization from threat actors or from malicious activities? And one of the devices is called a router. A router usually is a device that does path determination and packet forwarding. When we say path determination, let's say, for instance, this is your router and there is a path like this. There's a path. This one goes to maybe another location. This goes to another location. This goes to another location. All right. Then this is your local area network. Now, when your traffic is going out to the internet and it meets this router here, the router will ask the traffic, where is your destination? If, for instance, this is Abuja, this is Lagos, this is Kano, okay? And this traffic is coming from Port Harcourt. And then he asks, where is your destination? Then that's the question that this router is going to ask this traffic. If the traffic says, I am going to Kano, now it is the job of this router to determine the best, safest, shortest, reliable path to go to Kano. Is it going to follow route A, or is it going to follow route B, or is it going to follow route C? Because in this router, inside is the table, it has all the routes to get to, it has in its table how to get to all the destinations. So that is one of the job of this router. So it says one of the primary use is to interconnect various network segments. They usually provide basic traffic filtering capabilities, which means on this interface, you can provide some filtering to say, okay, I don't want this traffic to go to, maybe you want to go to a particular destination. I've blocked all traffic going to Lagos, or block all traffic from Port Harcourt going to Abuja, or all traffic from Port Harcourt going to Kano. You can decide to block and things like that. Another device that we just talked about is the firewall. And we say the key element here is that it looks deeper into the traffic, which means there are certain things that the router cannot just block like that. but the firewall has the ability to block. Okay, it has the ability, and those are based on the policies that is applied. Let's say, for instance, you don't want users to access, let's say, pornography, for instance. It is a policy. Then you can use your firewall to put that policy so that any traffic going to pornographic sites will be blocked. You could decide to say you don't want traffic during working hours. You don't want people to be watching football, or you don't want people to be streamlining football or sporting sites. Okay, then you can use your firewall to be able to do that. So the firewall is just another device. It's like a router, but it does things deeper than a router. You see, the router does the basic filtering, but the firewall goes a little deeper. It can inspect the packet or inspect the traffic and decide and know the kind of traffic and know who to allow and who not to allow. Okay, that is what it does. So usually you put the traffic at the border. This is maybe internet, and then this is maybe your network. So any traffic coming in from the internet is blocked by the firewall, except being permitted by the administrator. Any traffic going outside, probably you have to specify. You permit certain kind of traffic going outside and you deny certain kind of traffic. Then there is another device called the intrusion prevention system. Now, this guy works on what we call traffic signatures. You see, like you have antiviruses on your system, and you say, how does my antivirus, how is he able to determine what a virus is? And how is he able to capture it? Each of these viruses have what we call signatures. They have patterns. They have what identifies them. And so the antiviruses are built to identify this kind of signatures. So if you update your antivirus frequently, you are updating the virus definition database to take note of all those signatures. In the same vein, there is a device called intrusion prevention system that actually take note of the signature of every kind of traffic. Every kind of traffic. And what it does in this prevention system, it takes any signature that has been mapped globally as a threat, then this device will block it. I want you to take, for instance, this application on your phone, TrueTalk. Is it TrueTalk? What does it call it myself? TrueCaller. There's this device on our phones, they call it TrueCaller. And sometimes when somebody calls you using TrueCaller, what happens? The person's name is shown. All right, the person's name is shown. And there are some people that probably will call you, and TrueCaller will even show you and say this is a spam. You will see that it will say it's a spam, which means that TrueCaller is able to identify this phone number as a spam, or as a hacker, or as all this spam. Now, how is TrueCaller able to do it? The TrueCaller is only able to do it because somebody else reported that phone number. So if somebody is disturbing you can report to TrueCaller and say this one is a spam. And so TrueCaller will now add it in their spam definition database. So any call that is coming in that is matched with that number in the virus in spam definition database, then it will come on your phone red like spam. It's the same thing with these threats. So when the threat comes to your system, if it has been flagged as a malicious link or as a malicious traffic, then when it comes to your device, the intrusion prevention system will prevent it. There's another device called the Virtual Private Network, VPN. So VPN systems let remote users to use a secure encrypted tunnel from their mobile computer and securely connect to the organization's network. So VPN systems can also securely interconnect branches with central office. What we're saying is that if I have maybe this is the headquarters, and it is in Abuja. Then I have another branch in Enugu. Okay. Then I have another branch in Jos. Now, in all these branches, let's say I have devices and I have maybe, let's say banks. Let's use which bank? Let's say maybe First Bank. So this is First Bank branch in Abuja. This is First Bank branch in Enugu. This is First Bank branch in Jos. As a network administrator who wants to protect your organization, sometimes you are in Abuja and you want to log into the device in Jos to find out what is going on there. Because you are not physically in Jos, you are in Abuja. When you log in, you have opened up a channel for threat actors to be able to intercept your communication. Or you are logging into Kano remotely. All right. If you're logging to Kano remotely, then that is the same thing. But the concept of VPN here is saying, since you are doing this connection through the cloud, through the internet, all right, through the internet, you're doing this connection and anything can happen on the internet. Using VPN helps you to be able to securely log in without your traffic being exposed. So it encrypts your link, encrypts your data so that somebody will not hack it. So in an organization, it's good to use VPN. It's also good to use anti-malware or antivirus. These systems use signatures or behavioral analysis of applications to identify and block malicious code from being executed. Okay. So like we said, there are different antiviruses. Sometimes you have Norton, you have Kaspersky, you have Note32, you have a Bitdefender, you have so many antiviruses. Okay. But even Avast is an antivirus. But a lot of people prefer the free versions. And the free version does not have updated virus definition database because they are free. But the licensed one that you buy comes with updated virus definition database. And that is why whenever you are on the internet, that antivirus application would like to update. Okay. You have other security devices to include web and email security appliances, decryption devices, client access control servers, and security management systems. So these devices that we have looked at are all devices that play a key role in your network, the network of your organization. Then looking at firewalls. In computer networking, a firewall design controls or filters the communications, all right? It does what? It controls or filters which the communications are allowed in and out of your network. So the firewall is always there as a border in the boundary. So your connection to the internet, then your connection to your local area network. So the firewall determines who goes in and who goes out. It can be a standalone network device that covers an entire network computers and all the host devices on that network. And that type of firewall is called a network-based firewall. All right. And the network-based firewall filters communication based on source and destination IP addresses. When we say IP address, what do we mean? IP address is just a unique identity that every device need to have in order to communicate on the internet or on the network. It's like a student getting a matriculation number in the university. So that matriculation number uniquely identifies the student throughout his stay in the university. So network devices have these IP addresses, and these IP addresses helps greatly in the communication. So there's always a source and a destination. All right. Then you have the transport layer firewall that filters communication based on source and destination port number. Port number is like the window, all right, the window or the door that the traffic uses to go out. So the IP address is the identity. The port number is like the door. All right, this traffic is going out of this house. Which door, which window will the traffic pass through to go out? So that is the port number. So we have source and destination port. So firewall basically makes their decisions based on network layer, or based on the network IP source and destination IPs, or based on source and destination port number. So every application that you have on the network has a port number. Every browser, every application you use has a port number. Application layer firewalls filters communication based on an application, program, or even service. Okay, so you have a application layer firewall. It's like a software that helps to block or permit or control the traffic that happens based on the services you are deploying, maybe the software you are using or the application. Then the context-aware layer firewall filters communication based on the user's device, role, or application type, and even threat profile. All right. So the proxy server filters web content requests like the URL, domain names, and media types. Then you have the reverse proxy server, and it's placed in front of web servers. Reverse proxy servers protect, hide, upload, and distribute access to web servers. Then you have the network address translation firewall. This firewall hides and masquerades the private IP addresses of network hosts. What do we mean by this? It's like in a house. Let's say in this house, this man has 5 children, and he has bought some overall clothing, and say any child that is going out of this house, whether you're a boy or girl, you must wear this clothes. All right, you must wear this cloth, because this cloth is the only one that will identify you outside of this house. So I only bought one, so only one person is allowed to go out of this house at a time. So if the first child is going out, he will wear this cloth and then go out with it. Anybody that sees him outside with this cloth will know that this child belongs to this family A. So when the child comes back, he will now drop the cloth at the gate, and then the next child who is going out will wear the cloth and go out. So this process is called NATing, network address translation. So what it does is that there are IP addresses that are not allowed to be browsing. They are not allowed to go outside of your local network. So, and then there are IP addresses that are allowed to go out. They are allowed to browse. So if your network, you have the ones that are not allowed to browse, if you want to go out to browse, it will ask you, it will now change, it will translate your local IP, your private IP into a public IP, and then you route. Okay. Then we have host-based firewall that filters ports and system services calls on a single computing operation. Okay. Now, port scanning. In networking, each application running on a device is assigned an identifier called a port number. Remember, I told you that in transport layer or in port addressing, what happens is that if your traffic is going out, the port is like which window or which door are you going out through? All right. So this port number is used on both ends of the transmission to pass the correct data, to the correct application. So port scanning probes a computer server or any network host for open ports. Okay, for open ports. It can be used maliciously as a reconnaissance tool to identify the operating system and service running on the computer or host. It can be used harmlessly by a network administrator to verify network security policies. All right. So download and launch port scanning tools like Zmap, and then enter the address of your computer, choose a default scanning profile, and scan. So this is like Zmap. It's just like a tool that can be used for port scanning. Okay. Coming. Okay. So the scan will report any service running, such as your web or email service or other, and their port numbers. So most hackers that want to find out, that's what they use. They use applications like this, the ZMAP. The scan will also report one of the following. If that's under the ZMAP, it will show you the port that is open or accepted, which means that another network device can access this port. Then it will show you the one that is closed or denied. Or sometimes it says not listening, which means that the port or service is not running on the computer, therefore cannot be exploited. Then it shows you the one that is filtered, which means dropped or blocked, that the firewall blocks access to the port or service and cannot be exploited. So usually when hackers use this application, they're looking for a port that says open or accepted. And if they see, so it's like a thief that wants to come to your house, you look for a window that is open or a door that is open, and it will be easy for him to enter. But if all your doors are closed or they are locked, it will be difficult for him to enter. Okay. So this is like how the application looks like. If you install on your system, this is how it looks like, and you're running the scan. So to execute the port scan from outside your network, you must run it against a firewall or router's IP address. To enter the query, what is my IP address, to search engines such as Google to find this information. So on the Nmap online port scanner, enter your public address in the box and press quick Nmap scan. If the response is open for ports this or this, then most likely port forwarding has been enabled on your router or firewall, and you are running servers on your private network. Okay. Then intrusion detection and prevention system. Okay, so this is like our firewall. Firewall is connected to the switch. Then you have your intrusion detection system, and then this firewall is connected to a router, and then who is connected to the internet. Now this is your local area network here, right? So the firewall protects you against traffic coming in from the internet, and then also protects you that is going out. So intrusion detection system and prevention system are security measures deployed, all right, on a network to detect and prevent malicious activities. So an IDS can be dedicated network device, or one of the several tools in a server, firewall, or even a host computer operating system such as Windows or Linux that scans data against a system such as Windows or Linux that scans data against that database of rules or attack signatures looking for malicious traffic. So if a match is detected, the IDS will log the detection and create an alert for the network administrator. It will not take any action and therefore will not prevent attack from happening. The attack will still happen. Its job is to do what? To detect. It's just to detect and report. So the scanning performed by the IDS slows down the network, placing the IDS offline, separate from the regular network traffic, prevents network delay. So data is copied or mirrored by a switch and then forwarded to the IDS for offline detection. An internet intrusion prevention system can block or deny any traffic based on a positive rule or signature match. One of the most well-known IDS or IPS systems is called the SNOT. The commercial version of the SNOT is Cisco's SourceFire. SourceFire can perform real-time traffic and port analysis, logging, content searching, and matching, detect probes and attacks, and execute port scans. It also integrates with third-party reporting performance, and log analysis tools, right? So that is for intrusion detection. Then we have the real-time detection. Many organizations today cannot detect attack until days or even months after they occur. Detecting attack in real time requires actively scanning for attacks using firewalls or IDS. It will help if you also use next-gen client and server malware detection with connections to online global threat centers. So today, active scanning devices and softwares must detect network anomalies using context-based analysis and behavior detection. That is where AI comes into play. DDoS stands for Distributed Denial of Service. It's a type of attack that is done on a system or on a network that comes from multiple locations. Now, DDoS is one of the most potent attacks requiring real-time protection and response. So for many organizations, DDoS attack regularly cripple internet servers and network availability. And these attacks are extremely difficult to defend against because the attack originates from hundreds, even thousands of zombie hosts, and the attacks appear as legitimate traffic. So how do you protect yourself against malware or malicious ware? One way of defending against zero-day attack and advanced persistent threat is to use an enterprise-level advanced malware detection solution, like the Cisco's Advanced Malware Protection, AMP. Okay, this client-server software can deploy on host endpoints as a standalone server or on the other network security devices. It can analyze millions of files and correlate them against hundreds, millions of other interpreted malware artifacts. So for behaviors that reveal the APT, this approach provides a global view of malware attack, companies and campaigns and distribution. So Secure Operations Center team. The threat grid allows the Cisco Secure Operations Center team to gather more accurate, actionable data. Incident response team. This incident response team has access to forensically helpful information from which it can more quickly analyze and understand suspicious behavior. So all these are ways you are going to protect your organization from malware, from people who have malicious intention, all right, either in physical or hardware or software, or whichever way, okay? Another thing you can do is set up what we call the threat intelligence team. And using this analysis, the threat intelligence team can proactively improve the organization's security infrastructure. Security infrastructure, engineering team, things like that. So the overall, the security infrastructure engineering team can also act on threat information faster, even in an automated way. So you see, to protect your device against malware, you need the AMP, the Cisco Advanced Malware Protection. You also need Secure Operations Center team. You need to create a team. You need to create incident response team. You need to create threat intelligence team. You need to create security infrastructure engineering team. So these are some best practices. Many national and professional organizations have published list of security best practices. You can find some of the most helpful guidelines in organizations responsible, such as the National Institute for Standard and Technology, Computer Resource Center, so on and so forth. So among them is what we call perform a risk assessment. Knowing and understanding the value of what you are protecting will help you justify security expenditures. Create a security policy. Clearly outline the organization's roles, job roles, responsibilities, and employee expectations. And then physical security measures. Restrict access to networking closets and server locations and fire supervision. So invariably, where people are not supposed to have access to, prevent them from having access to that location. Some other best practice include human resource security measures, and completion of background checks should be for all employees. Another is to perform the test backups, backup information regularly, and test data recovery from backups. Maintain security patches and updates. Regularly update server clients and network device operating systems and programs. And then employ access controls, configure user roles and privilege levels, and strong user authentication. Then regularly test incident response. Employ an incident response team and test emergency response team as well. You can also implement a network monitoring and analysis and management tool. You can also implement network security updates. Also implement a comprehensive endpoint security solution. You can educate other people and you can encrypt data. All right, all these are ways to do it. So let's look at behavior approach to cybersecurity. Behavior-based security is a form of threat detection that captures and analyzes the flow of communication between a user on a local network and a local or remote destination. Any changes in normal behavior patterns are regarded as anomalies and may indicate an attack. All right, so which means you need to know your network very well. You need to know your traffic. You need to know from where to where. Honeypots. Honeypot is a behavior-based detection tool that lures attackers in by appealing to their predicted pattern of malicious behavior. So once the attacker is inside the honeypot, the network administrator can capture, log, and analyze their behavior so that they can build a better defense. Then Cisco Cyber Threat Defense Solution Architecture. This security architecture uses behavior-based detection and indicators to provide greater visibility, context, and control. The aim is to know who is carrying out the attack, what attack are they performing, and where, when, and how the attack is taking place. So this security architecture uses many security technologies to achieve this goal. Then there's another tool called the NetFlow. The use of NetFlow technology is to gather information about data flowing through the network, including who and what devices are on the network and when and how users and devices access the network. Okay, so what does it inspect? It inspects source IP, destination IP, source port number, destination port number, layer 3 protocol, OSI bytes, input, inheritance, and things like that. It inspects it. That's what NetFlow does. So it is an essential component in behavior-based detection analysis. Switches, routers, and firewalls equipped with NetFlow can report information about data entering, leaving, or even traveling through the network. So this information is sent to NetFlow collectors and that collect, store, and analyze NetFlow data to establish a baseline behavior on more than 90 attributes, right? Finally, penetration testing. Penetration testing, commonly known as pen test, assesses a computer system, network, or organization for security vulnerability. So a pen test seeks to breach system, people, processes, and code that could exploit vulnerabilities. So this information improves the system's defense to ensure it's better to be. Sorry, the things keeps keeping. Better to withstand cyber attacks in the future. What are we talking about here? If you are the network administrator, once in a while, you need to conduct a penetration testing. It's like saying in your house, you have put a security dog, and that security dog is supposed to prevent people from coming into the house. Then you will go outside and go and pay somebody and tell him, okay, I want you to come and steal something in my house. And in its real sense, the owner of the house is just trying to test the level of security that this dog is able to do, right? So that is penetration testing. You have a network. Sometimes you need to run a test to test your network to see the vulnerabilities. And ways you can do that, one is by planning. A pen tester gathers as much information as possible about a target system or network, its potential vulnerabilities and exploits to use against it. So this involves conducting passive or active surveillance and vulnerability research. The second thing is scanning. We have seen planning. The second thing is scanning. So the pen tester carries out active reconnaissance to probe a target system or network and identify potential weakness which is exploited, could give an attacker access. So active surveillance may include port scanning to identify potential access points into a target system, or vulnerability scanning to identify potentially exploitable vulnerabilities of a particular target. It establishes an active connection to a target to identify the user system and admin accounts. The third thing you do in penetration testing is gaining access. The pen tester will attempt to gain access to a target system and sniff network traffic using various methods to exploit the system. It includes launching an exploit with a payload into the system, breaching the physical barriers to access, social engineering, exploiting website vulnerabilities, exploiting software and hardware vulnerabilities or misconfiguration, breaching access control security, and checking weak encrypted Wi-Fi. Number 4, maintaining access. The pen tester will maintain access to the target to find out what data and systems are vulnerable for exploitation. They must maintain undetected, typically using backdoors, Trojan horses, rootkits, and other covert channels to hide their presence. When this infrastructure is in plain, the pen tester will then gather the data they consider valuable. Analysis and reporting is another thing in step 5. The pen tester will provide feedback via a report, commending products or updates or policies, and training to improve an organization's security. Impact reduction. So, while most organizations today are aware of common security threats and put considerable effort into preventing them, so security practices are foolproof. Therefore, organizations must prepare to contain the damage if a security breach occurs, and they must act fast. And then we have communicate the issue. All right, so communication creates transparency, which is critical to this situation. Informing all employees and communicating a clear call of actions should occur internally. All right, informing all clients through a direct communication and official announcement should occur externally. All right, so be sincere and accountable. Respond to the breach honesty and genuinity, taking responsibility where the organization is at fault. Don't worry, we're almost done. Then we'll take your questions. Impact reduction. Provide the details, find the cause, apply lessons learned, check and check again, educate. Okay? Now, under provide the details, be open and explain why the breach occurred. That is, if somebody breaches your network or gain access to unauthorized resources. So you need to be open to explain why the breach occurred and what information was compromised. Organizations generally take care of any client cost associated with identity theft services required as a result of a security breach. Find the cause. Take steps to understand what caused the facilitated the breach. This may involve hiring forensics experts to research and find out the details. Apply lessons learned. Make sure that any lessons learned from forensic investigation are applied to prevent similar breaches from happening. Check and check again. Attackers often attempt to leave a backdoor to facilitate future breaches. So to prevent this, you must ensure that all systems are clean. All right? No uninstalled backdoors. And compromise nothing else. Educate. So you are to raise awareness and train as well as educate employees, partners, and even clients on preventing the future breaches. So what is risk management? Risk management is the formal process of continuously identifying and assessing risk to reduce the impact of threats. Okay. To reduce the impacts of threats. So you can eliminate risk, but you cannot eliminate risk, but you can determine acceptable levels by weighing up the impact of the threat with the cost of implementing controls to mitigate it. The cost of power should always be at most the value of the asset that you are protecting. So you see, all these steps we're looking at is how to protect your organization and your organizational data. And in this case, the risk is like you want to take a decision and you need to weigh to know whether you are taking the right decision or not. Okay. So that's where it comes to risk management. Assess the risk, determine the severity, okay, that each threat poses. For example, some threats may bring an entire organization to a standstill, while others may be only minor. All right. So you can prioritize risk by assessing financial impact. Right. That is that one. And then respond to the risk. Develop an action plan to reduce overall organization risk exposure. All right. Detailing where risk can be eliminated, mitigated, or transferred. Right. Let me see. Good. Monitor the risk. Continuously review any risk reduced through elimination, mitigation, or transfer actions. Remember, you cannot eliminate all risk, so you must monitor any threat closely. Okay. So that is module 4 that we have just looked, how to protect your organization. So I'm going to mute you so that we take in questions while you're writing your attendance.